So in our case, we are talking about this because JP Delulu Miller, his new nickname, he has filed 14 total lawsuits, but 13 of them have been in Magistrate Court. And we got a hold of one of the complaints, and we talked about it on True Sunlight this week. And I thought it was interesting. In the public index, he only lists his lawyer, Russell B. Long, who we call Russell B. Wrong, for the one complaint that is not in Magistrate Court. And the other ones, it's just him. They go to court next week, or at least some of them do.
Have they been consolidated, these actions?
That's a good question. I actually wondered.
Or are they one at a time type of actions? And I ask you that because, did you see the complaint? If it's a complaint that looks like what you see in circuit court, where it lists the parties first, and then it says background facts, and you have all the background facts, and then the first cause of action would be invasion of privacy, second would be defamation, then it would look like that a lawyer drafted it. But if you look at the complaint, it's on the form of the magistrate court, and it's like 4 lines and it's handwritten, then it would seem that JP would be drafting it. Have you seen the complaints?
Yes, it's the one we saw looks like a lawyer drafted it, except no lawyer signed it. But the consolidation issue is an interesting one because now I know he paid a $70 court fee for each filing, but that would seem to cost more than $70, I would think, to try each of those cases or to adjudicate them in some way. So he wants to use the court 13 separate times for what is essentially, we're going to assume at this point, we haven't seen all the grievances, but the same complaint.
What is the cause of action that he's saying? Invasion of his privacy, harassment? What is?
Invasion of privacy is the only cause of action in the one we saw.
Now, you don't cite case law in a complaint. Right. You just name what the cause of action is, and you have to put the elements. So if I was suing you for negligence, I would have to plead that you owed me a duty. Mm-hmm. And you breached that duty. If it was a duty to watch my dog or watch my house, you breached it. And then as a result of you not adhering to your duty, it caused me damages. You left the door open in my house and somebody came and robbed my house when you were supposed to be watching it. So that's how you would plead a complaint.
But what would this strategy be? So let's start at the beginning here. When this first started, when Mica's death was announced and people started showing interest in it and all of that, JP reacted rather quickly and, bizarrely. And one of the things he did is he sent out a cease and desist letter, as we've talked about many times in the show, to a bunch of creators. Yeah, that was spelled wrong. Cease and desist. Beyond that, what we learned from Allison Williams, who is his ex-wife, she had filed an affidavit in a custody amendment that she wanted after all of this broke. And she said that JP was telling their children that Daddy's going to be a millionaire because of all the lawsuits he's going to be filing, right? So it was sort of clear just from everything that we were hearing that he really thought he had this massive defamation case brewing against anyone who dared say that something's fishy here or something's going on or look at the abuse that Mica alleged, look at all of this. Instead, what we've gotten is we have one defamation suit that he filed against a paralegal who is at a law firm that he supposedly called on February 7th. He wanted to hire them so they would be aggressive to Mica in the divorce case. They obviously didn't take his case, but that paralegal spoke out and said that, he called and he said he wanted to ruin Mica. And so he says that's not true.
Why isn't that confidential, Liz? If you called me and you wanted to discuss retaining me to go after your husband and we couldn't reach a fee agreement, or I said to you, it's not something that I would do, I am under an obligation under the rules of professional conduct to keep that communication quiet. I can't go out and call Mandy on the phone and say, hey, you should watch out. Liz is gunning for you. I got to keep that. It's inviolate. So how would she have had the right to do that? A paralegal, by the way, is part of the lawyer umbrella. So when you speak to my paralegal, that paralegal has to keep it quiet as if she's a lawyer as well.
Right. So why was she able to do that? Is that the question? Well, so I guess that's the thing is she wasn't, because they did have a client. Yeah, they had a client.
So is he suing the firm, Liz and Mandy, or is he just suing the woman?
He's just suing the woman as far as I remember.
So
Yeah, he's just
insurance
suing the woman.
Insurance is pretty tricky on defamation, just so everybody knows. If you have a commercial policy, there's an advertising injury section under it, which does provide for defamation coverage under comprehensive general liability policy. But under your homeowner's policy, there usually are exclusions for defamation that you wouldn't be able to get that. Now, if you have an umbrella policy, which is, and we've talked about that before, you have a primary policy, and then people can get an umbrella policy if your automobile coverage isn't enough and you feel like you need some more because there's a chance you'll be personally sued. They would possibly cover defamation, but just because you sue somebody and you get a judgment doesn't mean that person's going to pay. We don't have debtor's prison in this country. And so a judgment is good for 10 years, and you would have to then go collect that judgment. And it's a very complicated, cumbersome process to make somebody to pay.